Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, bringing some news to you. It has officially happened after 9 months, almost a year. It came out in January. Palworld is being sued. After all the memes, after everyone was like, they're totally gonna get sued, and then they didn't. And then when the game goes silent, and Nintendo goes silent, out of nowhere, Nintendo's like, yo, we're probably losing money, so we're gonna sue you. It's funny because literally Palworld came out and showed everyone what Pokemon could be if Nintendo actually did something. And I guess they took that to heart, and instead of improving the game, they're just gonna sue the competitor. Listen, I'm not gonna water it down, but let's be honest. Competitiveness is great because it forces people to be innovative and to expand. Like, so you could literally say the whole thing about Android versus iPhone. They literally are competitive to each other. Heck, even Android within the same line, one brand is not going to be the same as the other, but they're both going to try to convince you to buy their stuff by improving or not improving things. And so competition's good. What's not good is Nintendo's trying to remove competition. And that's bad. It's bad for even Pokemon players because that means no one could force Nintendo to actually try. If there's no competition, why do they need to try? It's just bad. So we can read here. Nintendo, Kyoki Minu, Japan Representative Director and President Shinato Nintendo, together with the Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair, Inc., defendant hereafter September 18th, 2024. The lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the ground that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Yes, compensation, the damages that were done were showing the people who like Pokemon, like me, that Pokemon could be better if Nintendo actually tried. It's very damaging to the brand. People loved Palworld. Palworld was just an absolute banger. And we hope that Nintendo would have copied the homework of the person that copied the homework, and we would have a banger Pokemon in the future. Nintendo didn't like that. They're like, no, we don't improve. We cancel you, so we never have to improve. Nintendo will continue necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual properties, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect intellectual properties. It has worked hard to establish over the years. So it's obviously when the leaders of Pocket Pair, they came out and said they did background checks. They clearly legally checked. So if they've already did their due diligence, this is either a way to try to shut down this company by breaking them. They're like, Nintendo has blood money. Let's be honest, Nintendo has blood money, and that's what this is. It's literally just their way of trying to shut down the company. Like, yeah, let's be honest. Regarding the lawsuit, yesterday a lawsuit was filed against our company for the patent infringement. We have received notice of this lawsuit and will begin to appropriate legal proceedings and investigations into the claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon, and we have not been notified of such details. Pocket Pair is a small indie company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We will continue to pursue the goal because we know that our games bring joy to billions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and us. We were blown away by the amazing response to the game, and we have been working hard to make it even better for our fans. So we will continue improving Palworld and strive to create a game that our fans can be proud of. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and ensure that the indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. We apologize to our fans and supporters for any worries or discomfort that this news has caused. As always, thank you for your continued support of Palworld and Pocket Pair. Yeah, fuck you, Nintendo. I hope you and your old bag, ancient douchebag leaders croak. Listen, it's very Nintendo's always been douchebags. Like, let's not look at Nintendo and see that the games like Pokemon's been great, right? But Game Freak is great. But Nintendo has been a dumpster fire of douchebags. I mean, going as far as canceling game events, canceling mods, like literally people not even selling modified versions of their games that you can't technically, some of them you can't even play anymore unless you have the hardware that's not for sale. But they cancel that crap because, oh, you can't have emulators of games that you may have purchased but are unable to play because we don't sell the system anymore. Fuck you. That's all. No, fuck you. I hope. My hope is that what's gonna happen is they're gonna release before they, like, if they have to close the game, what they're gonna do is release the code and everything and say you, and then the community is gonna mod the hell out of it, make a banger game that's better than Pokemon, because that's what they do with Pokemon. They work upon what's already there at base games and make it better. Yeah, I mean, this is just this is a loss for gamers. Don't see this as a W, like, oh, thank God, Nintendo. This is bad. When you stifle competition, even indie games, it's bad, because who's going to challenge other companies? Who's going to push people to be innovative? Hell, indie games themselves are innovative. And if you stifle that, we get nothing new but these you get FIFA, you get Madden, you get these slop garbage can games that are always the same bare minimum crap put into them. Listen, I like Pokemon, but the last 2 generations have been very mid. Like, I would used to farm like on a Nintendo Switch, not a Switch, but the 3DS and all that. Like, I love those games. But man, Nintendo Switch, everything coming over to this Nintendo Switch has not kept my attention at all. Like, I am actively not caring about my Switch. It is collecting dust. And I've got 2 of them, by the way. And it's just sitting there, dust. Same thing with my other consoles. But I just, this is it's not a win. It's a, that's kind of funny. Voice mod, you stole the idea for the next game. Pikachu AK-47. Now, realistically, what do I think was a patent that they're going to try to squeeze out of in court? I think it's the balls. That's right. I think it's actually the balls. I think the pocket pair catching mechanic is way too similar to catching Pokemon. And I can see, it said multiple, but I feel like that's one of them. The second one, what would, I'm trying to think, the second one, I mean, I don't even think it's necessarily the look of the characters, because you can look at some of them and say, like, yeah, this is obviously different. The damages. And here's another, if they try to make it a patent, not just on the Pokeballs or the ball catching mechanic, but the fact that these are creatures that you battle with, if they tried to make it work capturing and using fantasy monsters, that's what Pokemon is pocket monsters. If they claim monsters as their only, like, no one else can do a game about using monsters to fight, I think that's way too broad of a brush, and that's way too much power. I want Nintendo to literally lose. I truly do. I think they need to lose. If they opened up a GoFundMe, I would probably donate like 20-50 bucks. Just even though it's nothing, I would absolutely, because when you have big hitters, imagine I'm trying to think, Halo. Imagine if Halo 343 bought Splitgate. A lot of people love Splitgate, and it was like it was a free-to-play game, and they're coming out with number 2. But imagine they're like, oh, this is way too, there's too many like things you could argue are kind of like Halo, slap it. You know, we wouldn't have innovation. Or Call of Duty, hell, you know, Activision could probably try to sue multiple first-person shooter games for, you know, having similarities. It is the fact that we have competition that forces games to improve, that we get a better product, or we don't. Sometimes you get, but when you get games like Madden that have no competition, you see little to no improvement, and you get the same slop and like sports games are like the perfect example of what happens when there's no real competition. You get nothing, no real innovation. You just get slop, cash grabs, you get garbage. And all you're forced to do is just, you know, if you love that genre of game, you're forced to just eat it and like it. That's just my general thought. It's a sad day. Nothing like outside of the fact that you catch Pokemon, monsters like Pokemon. It is a different game. It's not even closely related to Pokemon outside of the catching mechanic. Literally, you have guns and it's more like Ark survival. You're literally doing more Ark survival with Pokemon mixed into it, or monsters. It's why? Like, it's crazy. The person this Reddit post makes a great point. We need to repost this because Nintendo doing this to Palworld is a massive red flag. So let's read this. What do we got? What's the red flag? Anyone who's pumped their fist cheering for this should be ashamed for not taking 5 seconds to read what they're suing over. Because it's not because it looks like Pokemon. They're suing over video game patents, specific gameplay mechanics. Yes, so probably the Pokemon catching or the monster catching. This should sound alarm bells, as right after Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo tried to patent many basic mechanics, coding mechanics, features that were already made and used by numerous other video games. They're very much interested in expanding their litigious practices beyond clones of their games, and this could very much lead to them stifling competition. I just said that. As we would have already seen in other corners of the gaming industry, you can hate Palworld for being uninspired, but don't let it distract you from the real issue. Nintendo is very likely leveraging patent law to shut down a viable market alternative. This has a very dangerous precedent that could threaten large swaths of the industry. From big games to small indies we enjoy on Switch, this is a dangerous move. If you don't know about video game patents, I highly encourage you that you see a few videos about them. They have some useful applications, but patent abuse has been an issue. It has. Free Palworld. John Wick style, baby. Let's go. Let's not go John Wick on them now. We need to be civil unless John Wick is a secretly... No. Literally screw Nintendo leaders. They're old, ancient relics that don't belong in the... They're just as bad as Bungie and their leaders. By the way, Nintendo's own patent about mounts for Pokemon should mean they should sue the Zelda. Oh, so mounting monsters is also a patent? Holy crap. I didn't realize they have a patent on writing monsters. That sounds ridiculous, but then again, I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to do that. I'm not even a big fan of Palworld, and I find this precedent disturbing. I hate monopolies. It wasn't a red flag when Power plagiarized an entire franchise, Monster Design. They said the same thing about Digimon years ago. Okay, and Digimon obviously isn't, but Palworld clearly promotes themselves as Pokemon with guns. The only one is the obvious grass-type Cinderace and the fluffy Eevee-looking one. This is what you have as someone who is just a dumb freaking moron. They've never, ever, Palworld and Pocket Pair have never once advertised as a Pokemon with guns. That was the community coming up with that. It can't be any sort of, when we don't actually have information on what Japanese patents they're claiming in the lawsuit. That's true, but we'll find out what happens. Technically, Dragon Quest came out before Pokemon, as well as Nintendo is being hypercritical. Wouldn't it be irony if Dragon Quest sued them in return? That'd be funny. I hope they do. I honestly don't care about Palworld, nor even want to think about Pokemon anymore, but I'll admit it, this seems low for Nintendo. It does. Like, overall, I think most people agree that this is bad. This is not good. Literally the most easily avoidable lawsuit of all time. The fact that fan artists were able to so easily redesign Palworld's creatures to have infinitely more personality. Yeah, sure. You could definitely do that. You don't have to like the game. No one's saying it. Like, you can disagree with what what Nintendo is doing, and not like the game. These can be two separate things, right? Palworld being sued by a Pokemon company is freaking insane, considering the game director said this crap in February. Also a little concerned about the precedent it sets for other Pokemon-like games. Mizobi mentioned that Palworld has cleared legal reviews and there has been no action taken against it by other companies. Again, I don't know what that implies, but if they've cleared reviews, then they should be able to show, like, hey, we did our due diligence to check this. Everyone talking about the Palworld versus Pokemon debacle. Look here. Pokemon Nintendo filed for patents to mounting system and the throw ball summon and fight system on May 2020, which is after Palworld. This is a very low blow. They did it ahead of time. What a scummy. They did it before it launched? In an example of game program, ground boarding target object or an air boarding target is selected by a selected operator. Player character is caused to board the selected boarding target object. If the player non-transition computer player character is automatically changed to the state where the player character is aboard the ground boarding target object and brought into the state where the player can move on the ground. You can't do that. Yeah, but this was public. The publication was August, though. It was filed but published afterward. That's why they're now suing it. It was filed, but it didn't become public. So they intentionally did this beforehand. And then after in August, clearly we're just now in September. Oh, you scummy sons of bitches. I'll community note myself. These patents reflect the patent that were filed in Japan around December 20. Oh, okay. So there was one in December. Let's look at this. Okay, so the patents have been around since 2021, but I guess in America, it was recent. But either way, like this should be thrown in the toilet. You can't claim riding monsters as a patent. That literally makes it to where they could sue so many video games because it doesn't say creature. It says character or boarding target object. They could say flying airplanes. They could say tanks. They could say the Halo Warthog. Like, there's so many things that could imply. It is so generic. Airboarding target. That could literally be anything. This needs to be thrown into the dumpster and ignored. With all these new patents, it will be nearly impossible to make a creature capture game, which is pretty sad. Still possible as long as you don't get too big. Correct, as I stated. Completely fake news 2020 was when the throwing summoning was patent for Pokemon Legends. Correct, as I stated here. Game mechanics should not be patentable. Unfortunately, a lot of game mechanics have been patented over the years. Well, I think they could take them to, I think they should take them to court and say, you know what, screw you. I don't know. That it is very obvious that I thought the catching mechanic was definitely going to be a patent. I figured that was the thing. But to say though, riding a freaking monster, creature, object, what? It doesn't even say creature or monster, it just says object. It's so generic. Like, what? How freaking scummy. Fuck you, Nintendo. I hope the leaders of Nintendo get hit by a bus. No, I don't. A digital bus. In-game. I hope they get hit by a digital bus in-game. And I hope the bus runs over their bank account so they have zero money. That's what I hope. A bus hits them digitally in the bank department and they lose all their money. Screw you. What a piece of crap, dude. This is the problem with gaming. We would never know this if they didn't try to sue. That we have game companies like Nintendo doing scummy shit like this that stifles innovation. It's a monopoly, and the FCC or whatever, whoever needs to be like, no, we're not doing this. No, Nintendo, it's time for your hand to be slapped. Man, it's always something. Always that you live long enough to see your heroes become villains, and Nintendo is about to have its true full-on villain arc with all these patents, and I am not wanting to be here for it. But note to self, you can pirate their games to give them the big middle finger. As always, I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for legal reasons. I don't encourage pirating. I'm just saying that's what people are doing. They are pirating. That I do not condone it, but you know, that's what people are doing. Anyways, bye.